And even when I got to be a door gunner on the left rear, when you're going 100K and you got to crack that door and you're hanging out the side, like that's almost the same as hanging on the bench of a little bird as it's banking in. It's wonderful, man. Who gets to do that? The only reason I went Blackwater is because they called me first. And at that time, they were both great organizations. You had Eric running that, and it was still relatively small. And they had Lee Van Arsdale running, who's a Delta legend, running Triple Canopy. It was pretty good shit. And they
Was
said,
it for OGA?
no, that time there wasn't. There was Peak. It was called Polar Quest. It was just starting to come online. But at that time, it was the Bremer detail.
What year is this?
2004, into 2003, beginning of 2004. So Karzai had already been going. The Karzai detail was a lot of your brothers were on that Karzai, and they had just started to move to Iraq, and they were starting to pick up guys to go on the Bremer detail, which was going to be the Negroponte detail down the line. It wasn't State Department either. It was the Coalition Provisional Authority. CPA.
Interesting.
And
How'd you like that?
The beginning, it was great because it was like OGA.
I remember showing up at GRS and everybody was talking about the Bremer
that
detail.
was the good old days. That was when it was State Department really didn't have their hand in it. So it was the Wild West. I mean, that was, that's where Sachs started. Sachs that's where he became really a legend over there in the GRS. He was one of the original Bremer guys. I love Sachs. But anyway, yeah, that's what I went to the first class. That's where I met Boone. Boone and I were in that first, it was called
Did you work with Sachs in that?
Not in the Bremer detail.
No?
No, he moved on. He was one of the first guys to move over to GRS.
Okay.
So Sachs was the trendsetter on contracting, but rightfully should be. And he was
What
just
a great guy, man.
That's the one thing. He is an operator, but he's just a nice guy.
I love that dude.
He was, obviously I'm mentioning him, so he had an effect on my life, a positive effect. But I went there and went through the training, which was basically 3 weeks at Moyock of Delta, long tabbers, white soft, blue, Rangers, and Marines fighting with each other.
And it never changed throughout your entire contracting career.
It was so hilarious. We didn't learn a damn thing during that. We went through all the shooting, so you had to pass the shooting, but as far as the PSD stuff, we didn't learn a thing. Because they were just everybody was always
Arguing
fighting.
tactics.
And then you're having the white stuff, the SEAL, the white, the vanillas, the SEAL teams outside of blue.
The Mies. The regular shitbag Navy SEALs.
Come on, shit. I believe me, man. I'd rather work the vanilla guys, new infantry stuff, better than the blue guys. I was always said, man, you guys know your infantry shit down. You guys had it. Mike Kane, Sawbones was a guy I worked quite often. He was awesome. And he hated blue. It's like, fuck that. But he was awesome. Bones was the man. And anyway, they're running the course. So do you think a blue guy's going to take shit from them or Delta? And I remember sitting on the bleachers week 2, and we're trying to learn basic formations, walking formations, diamond, and then how to react to contact within those formations. And it just turned into a big argument, shoving.
From a bunch of guys that none of them have done personal protection.
No, and the other ones that were
all
teaching
been assaulting.
it had been there, and the ones that were teaching it, they'd been down range for 6 months.
Hey guys, we're gonna go on defense now.
I know.
What's that?
What's that?
I don't know. Figure it out and teach it.
That's what it was. But it was awesome because it was a beautiful day. It's early spring in North Carolina, Moyock. It's sun's out. It's starting to set. I'm in the bleachers, and one of the instructors come over to me. His call sign was Shrek. He come over to me, and he goes, "What you smiling at for, Ranger?" I said, "You guys are paying me because I hadn't made shit for a year.
Yeah.
You guys are paying me $250 a day to sit out here in this beautiful weather, get a shoot gun, and I get to watch you guys just clown show. This is awesome. And I'm just unbelievable. Like how lucky am I to be right here watching the shit show go on?" And it was so awesome. It was wonderful. And then, I finished the course. I had to go home for like 2 months because my clearance still hadn't cleared yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I hadn't got my clearance yet from the State Department. That's when we started to figure out, DOD, NSA, CIA have their own clearances? Oh, I didn't know that. I thought if you got one, they don't cross over. So I had to wait for my State Department clearance. Got it. Went home to my wife. I said, "Please don't divorce me, but I'm going to Iraq." that's when the contracting life for the next 10 years took over, man. That was it. And early days, and it was the Wild West, man. It was, man, sitting up on top of a building on Haifa Street with my Ranger buddy and pigeon shit, overwatching one of our PSD teams, watching Bradley shoot down Haifa Street, spinning, the guys in their turrets, they spinning because I still remember, that was so cool. So because the upgunners, they're spinning, making sure they're looking and they're not going to get shot. Because Haifa was bad at that time. That was real bad. And yeah, I'm ducking because they don't know if I'm a good guy, but I don't want them to shoot me. But just, that was wonderful times, man. Driving down Biop, driving down Route Irish at 100 kilometers an hour. Fucking making sure that you don't get hit on that overpass or on.
There are not a lot of people that say they've had a great time running up and down Route Irish.
Yeah.
You're one of the few.
I loved it. And I had an awesome team. We had a wonderful, just an awesome team. Again, another one, just guys that just, I don't know, got along, but it worked. And
So for those listening that don't know about Route Irish is most likely unanimously the most dangerous road in Baghdad.
it was for a time. I mean, there were other dangerous roads too, like Haifa Street was very dangerous. Route Wild, when you got up to Sauder, was pretty damn dangerous.
Yeah.
And even Route 10 at some points were dangerous. And then, of course, Route 10, when it got into Ramadi and Fallujah, of course, were extremely dangerous. And God bless them, Helveston and the guys, that got hung and died there. But Irish was always hot. Always somebody was dying or getting hit on Irish. And I loved every minute of it. And I had the best drivers in the world. And when you see a motorcade with 3 cars, and they know, the drivers know what they're doing. And I was very lucky enough that I moved being from the trunk monkey to eventually I became the team leader. So I'm on that rear vehicle making the calls. And just watching drivers do their thing, blocking and screening at 100K, dude, it is beautiful, man. And I just get chills thinking about it because I was like, man, it got to a point where it was like a great football team where a coach didn't need to say a thing. Everybody knew what they were doing and they just did it. It was amazing. Having my 2 left and right door gunners cracking doors. If they needed to hit somebody, they'd hit them. If they didn't, they didn't. Getting out. And even when I got to be a door gunner on the left rear, when you're going 100K and you got to crack that door and you're hanging out the side, like that's almost the same as hanging on the bench of a little bird as it's banking in. It's wonderful, man. Who gets to do that? That was fun times. And we were up and down that thing in a 2-month period at one point. We had to run it 6 times a day.
What?
It was stupid. It was State Department.
6 times a day? You had to.
We were protecting
6 times a day on Route Irish?
We were protecting the Rhino bus, and we got
Holy
tasked for that.
Shit.
And 6 times a day, and it was. We violated every security principle that you're supposed to have.
Were you guys one of the crews that had the?
Which one? I don't know.
Somebody dressed up like a dinosaur at the back of a truck and rode that day.
No, that wasn't us, as far as you know. I don't think.